Good to see everyone. My name is Nuto Haynes. I'm I'm the facilitator for this particular meeting. We have a lot of OHA staff here to support the meeting this afternoon. It's really good to kind of start September with all of you. The fall always brings in a lot of optimism and hope for me anyway. It's always like the start of something new, start of school, start of another season. So I welcome all of you. Again, my name is Nuto Haynes. I go by she, her pronouns. I want to welcome everyone to the September partnership meeting. A couple of housekeeping things while some of our colleagues still are logging on. We want to welcome our OHA staff who will be supporting the meeting. If you have any questions about any of the technical pieces, we have Heather Owens and then Lisa Rao who will be helping with the closed caption pieces. And then Liz Garza is also available for any additional monitoring of the chat. And then of course we have our fearless leader, Christy Hudson, available to answer more specific questions around the partnership as well. And so with that, I also want to share that we're working on closed captioning availability. The link is in the chat as of right now. We also have Spanish interpretation that's available. So we're asking that everyone, all the attendees, select either Spanish or English channel. Okay, and I think you can do that at the bottom of your screen. I don't see that particular piece. Can somebody from OHA help me?
Yeah, I'll turn it on, but maybe if we can get Carlos or Mark to just say that in Spanish for those.
Thank you, Christy. I'll go ahead and give the announcement.
Thank you.
Buenas tardes y bienvenidos a todo mundo. Durante la presentación van a poder escuchar en español si lo desean. En unos momentos va a aparecer un globo en la parte inferior de la pantalla. Tienen que darle clic ahí y van a poder escoger el lenguaje English, Spanish. Por favor, denle clic a donde dice Spanish y ahí nos pueden escuchar a Mark y a mí y les vamos a interpretar durante la sesión. Gracias. Ready.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Carlos. I also want to make a quick announcement that there's not going to be any formal public comment period today. We're asking that the public comment in the chat and public is invited to comment in the chat and or email publichealth.policy@state.or.us. And I'll ask one of our OHA folks to put that link in the chat. And so most of what we're doing today, our objectives for today's meeting will be that we're going to work on some opportunity to have some more team building and trust building piece with our welcome and our introductions. We're going to take a vote, if you will, and try to reach consensus on our charter.
And then consensus on our charter.
And then also we'll take the strategy survey and then also identify next steps for prioritizing our strategies. So we have a very full couple hours before us. And so if it works for all of you, we can get started. Do I need to pause for a moment to check on any of the interpretation needs, Christy, or the captioning needs? Are we set? We're good?
I think we're set.
Okay, fantastic. So one of the things that we know that we wanted to kind of take more time to do within our meetings and is really think about how do we get to know each other more and then also build on that trust in our time together as we work through details of the partnership. So one of the things that we're going to start off to this afternoon's meeting is we're going to spend some time breaking up into small groups and answering these two quick questions. Now you got this agenda ahead of time, so I know you've all been thinking about how to answer this. So the first question that we have is, what's one way or one thing that you do for yourself to keep healthy? And then we want you to answer the question, what is one value that is important to you as we do this work together as a partnership. So we're going to break up into groups of about 3 or 4. Some OHA staff will be mixed in there as well. And we're going to give each other some time. We're going to do 10 minutes for the entire time. So we encourage you to answer and then give your colleagues some opportunity to answer the question as well. And I know that Christy's breaking us up into different breakout rooms. Do folks have any questions about the questions? Okay. And we'll only take about 10 minutes to do this.
Sorry.
Nope, you're fine.
I'm just gonna stop sharing for a second.
Yeah.
Oh. I'm thinking maybe I'll just do a random assignment.
Sure.
Is that okay, Nu?
Yeah, absolutely. While Christy is doing that, I'll also make mention that when we go to vote on the consensus, vote on the charter in a little bit, what I'd like to do is actually read through the roster, and we'll vote one by one, just because it's really difficult for us to kind of get an idea of a thumbs up and a thumbs down. And so we're just going to call through the roster and try that out to have you all participate that way. So I just want to give you a heads up on that. And Liz put the questions that were for our icebreaker into the chat. Thank you, Liz.
Okay, I think we're finally ready.
Super.
All right. See you later. Have fun.
Christy, did you get my message?
No, I was creating breakout rooms.
Oh, in the chat.
Phew. Can you click on captions again? Instead of assigning a typist, click on the other option that says something about sending a token. Copy the API token.
Yeah.
Okay. Says copy this token and paste it to a third-party captioning.
Maybe you can send it to me and I'll see if I can send it to them. They said the token wasn't connecting, so that's the only thing I can think of. Oh, is that the token there?
Yep.
Okay. I'll forward that to them, I guess.
Thank you. I am here.
Hi, Callie.
Hi.
Hi.
Good to see you. Thank you for helping me to be with you.
Welcome. Welcome. Would you like to join a breakout room? I'm going to zoom you off here, okay?
Yeah, what did they say? Right. What is your
I just sent you an IM, Christy, to make sure we got everyone paired up the right way.
Yes, we did.
Fantastic. Do you all want to take a stab at that first question as an icebreaker? I will tell you, one thing that I am doing for myself as of this summer is I started paddle boarding, and I'm a little obsessed now. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do it in the fall and winter because I don't like cold water. But
Wetsuits.
oh, that's attractive. Mm-mm, mm-mm. I'll have to look into that one though.
I can go next. I've been really focused on catching up on my sleep and just like being really good about it, you know, like not just letting it go and go, especially at the beginning of school. It's always easy to just kind of not do that because my schedule gets all out of whack and I gotta get up earlier and fix all that. But, you know, fix my schedule so it aligns with school. But yeah, I actually got to catch up on my sleep last weekend. So I always forget how much of a difference it makes until I'm like actually rested. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is me.
Nice.
I'm gonna you guys are actually all in a breakout room.
Yeah.
I'm gonna step back into the main meeting just because I don't think I can see if anyone's trying to get in here.
Good idea.
So.
I'm on board with Liz. Was just
and then Carlos Fidele, he was the Episcopal priest who was a chaplain.
Welcome back, everyone. I always know that it's good when I see smiling faces, and it's always too fast, right? That we all get started and we want to connect more with each other. So we're hoping that we'll have more opportunities to really connect with each other with these icebreakers. So what we want to do now is go ahead and move right into our consensus vote on the charter. We hope that all of you had an opportunity to look through the charter as it is. What we're going to do today is take a consensus vote to determine whether to accept the charter as it is right now. That being said, we know that there are more specific pieces and detailed pieces to it that we're going to ask our committee members to take a deeper dive, more specific look at it. And so what we want to do is just accept it today as is, or if you feel that it's not acceptable, then you would reject with a thumbs down. If you have more questions about it, you can vote with a thumbs sideways. And if you feel like it's all good, we're ready to move forward, and go ahead and vote with a thumbs up. Okay. Do folks have any questions about the consensus vote that we're taking regarding the charter? I do want to make mention that we indeed have a 51% quorum this afternoon. We had a couple of folks that reached out to Christy and myself and offering their consensus vote, and which I'll read through as well. And so they were unable to make it to the meeting today. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and read through. If you can unmute yourselves and just give us a thumbs up, thumb sideways, or thumbs down, that would be great. If you have a thumb sideways and you would like to ask your question, that would be perfect. This would be the time to do it. And if I can have one of our OHA staff help me to record, what people, their thumbs up, thumbs down, thumb sideways, that'd be helpful. Thank you. So first person on my list, Alicia.
Looks good to me, so thumbs up.
Thank you. Amy?
Thumbs up.
Thank you. Connie? Connie, can I have a vote for you, or I can also come back?
She gave a thumbs up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't see. I can't see my chat. Thank you. Dalia. Is Dalia here today?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay, thank you. Esther.
Thumbs up.
Thank you. Ian.
Thumbs up.
Thank you. Jennifer Little, thumbs up for her. She's unable to make today's meeting. Jenny Poole.
Not here today.
Thank you. Jess.
Thumbs up.
Thank you, Jess. Kimberly Lane.
Not here today.
Okay. Callie. I see your thumbs up.
Sí, estoy
Thank
de
you.
acuerdo. Ujú.
Lauren.
Thumbs up.
Thank you. Monica. I don't think Monica's here today. Monica Yellow Owl.
Mm-mm.
Rachel Schultz is also a thumbs up. She's unable to make today's meeting. Stan.
Thumbs up.
Thank you, Stan. Susan.
Thumbs up.
Great. Timur.
Thumbs up.
Thank you. Oh, I got 2 thumbs up. Talk.
Thumbs up.
Thank you. Veronica is not here today, and Kurt is also not here today. Is that correct?
That's everybody.
That's everybody. Thank you, everyone. That was a lot of hard work on all of your part in just reviewing. We had a bunch of folks with the work groups doing some final touches. What we do ask now is this fun job of encouraging you folks to think about the next step for this group is to move to a steering committee, right? And so this is the next really important phase of where your partnership is at. So we were going to ask that folks step forward, and you can volunteer yourself. You can nominate folks. What we're going to do, we're not going to take formal nominations right now because we have lots of things to cover today, but we would ask that you would send, if you would like to nominate someone on the partnership to be part of the steering committee of 5, to send that nomination to Christy and myself. And you can volunteer yourself too. You know, we encourage that. You know, if you find that this work is, you're ready to take on more, we encourage you to do that as well. So we're going to take those nominations in the next month and then have those sent out prior to our October meeting so that you all get a list of those folks who have stepped forward or have been nominated. Part of the reason that Christy and I would like to have it sent to us first is that we want to also reach out to folks. So if somebody gets nominated, we want to reach out and say, hey, you know, what do you think? You've been nominated. Do you have the capacity for this? And so we just want to make sure that people are accepting the nomination. And we feel like this is a nice, easy, pretty transparent way to do it. How does that work for folks? I see some thumbs up. Thank you. Would anybody like to see a different way to go about this in the next month? A couple more thumbs up. Thank you, Connie. Thank you, Susan. Talk, thank you. Okay, lots of thumbs up. So let's do it. So if you'd like to nominate yourself, please don't hesitate to step forward. Christy and I are really excited to work with all of you. We really feel like this is the biggest probably next step for the partnership, and so that your core group of colleagues will be the one putting together the agendas and looking at the vision and work plan for the next year. And so we're really excited for this part. And so first of all, congratulations on accepting the charter as it is. We'll definitely have some time to work on that, and the smaller group will definitely be working to fine tune some of those pieces that we need. Okay. It looks like at the bottom, Lisa sent a message that the closed captioning is on the screen now. So you can click on that if you would like closed captioning. It's at the bottom of your toolbar. Okay, fantastic. So our next piece is that we're going to move right into taking our survey. So what we want to do is give this group an opportunity to take the survey. We know that in the last couple of months, this summer, OHA has hosted several different opportunities to learn more about different strategies across the state, the different health strategies. And so what we want to do is give folks the opportunity to take the survey as a collective group. We're going to take about 30 or so minutes to do that. If you finish early, you get a little more of a break. And so I don't know if that encourages you to take the survey faster, but we felt like this is a nice opportunity for all of us to take the survey together. And then after the 30 minutes, we will come back as a group and then in real time be able to analyze and see where folks are landing as far as the prioritization and strategies. Does that sound good? What questions do you have for me and the OHA team?
No.
Christy, do you have some instruction for us as far as the link to take the survey or?
Yeah, I will drop the links in the chat right now. It's the same survey that you all looked at. Was that a couple of months ago? So hopefully now that you've had opportunity to get a little bit more information about the priorities and the strategies, this will be a little bit easier. It might not be the perfect tool, but I think we're just kind of interested where you're all landing today after you've had some time to orient yourselves a little bit.
So would the easiest way to do this, Christy, would folks just click on the link and then take it and leave everything else on and not come out of Zoom?
Yeah, if they want.
Or either or?
Either or.
Okay.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking about time-wise, because we'll look at the results at like 5 after, or like right at 2 o'clock.
How about 5 after 1? Okay, because we're really giving you about 30 minutes to do it, but we also want you to take a break. So we encourage you to take the survey and then give yourself enough time to stretch and take a break. And then we will resume 5 minutes after 2 o'clock.
We'll resume 5 minutes after 2?
Is that half?
Or pull the results after 2?
Is that the same thing?
Well, it'd be good for us to have a second to like look at the results.
Okay.
So how about we'll pull results at 2:05 and start the meeting again at 2:10.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. And I'm happy to stick around and hang out if people have questions as they're taking the survey, and Liz, if you're able to stick around too, that would be great. So you've got resources here.
Great. Thank you, everyone. So go ahead and take the survey in English or Spanish. It's in the chat, and we will resume collectively at 2:10. Thank you, everyone, for your patience and welcome back. We so appreciate you all taking that survey. Our OHA team just did a little debrief on the survey results, and we were trying to pull it together so we have something to share back with you all. And so before we do that, I wanted to give opportunity for folks to just quickly kind of share among the group. Going back to, we're asking you to do some of this prioritization and ordering of the various strategies and priorities, health priorities. So part of it is kind of going back to the question of how did you, for yourself, define important? So I'm going to open it up just to take a couple of comments from the partnership and just to kind of give us an idea of what folks, how did you approach taking the survey? So how did you define what was important for yourself, or this process, if you will?
I suppose I define importance by that which would be the best for the community, as far as best for our people, for building healthy people that have food to eat, good mental health, and strong supportive community. And equity and justice, the importance of, we've got to make sure that all people are treated equally and with equity in order for there to be good health in our state.
Thank you, Stan. Others, how did you approach this, taking this survey for the second time?
I was looking, this is Connie. I was looking at it through a rural lens because a lot of the rural population gets kind of neglected. That's the best way I could say it. So I was trying to put my focus on what I would like to see in the rural communities. The larger communities can kind of have most of the services that were asked on the survey.
Mm.
So that's where I was coming from a small town, and not to make them bigger, but to let them know that they matter also.
Thank you, Connie. Maybe one more. How do you define important? Okay, if no one else would like to share your thoughts on that, I appreciate the two members that shared your approach on really just thinking through how you're going to take the survey and what rose to the top for you. And so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and share some of the results from it. Christy has sent the PDF to your emails, so you can open that directly and look through the survey responses that way. We'll pull up a couple of the screenshots for you to see in this meeting, but what we wanted to show you was how it panned out for, I believe, the top 8 and the level where it ranked. And we're trying to figure out the best terminology for prioritization, ordering, or ranking. So if you all can help me with future verbiage on what it really means that we're trying to do, because we know all of these things are very important. It's just how it kind of came through on the survey. So with this first piece, it showed housing and food came out as one of the top priorities, equity and justice, healthy communities, then behavioral health, healthy families, healthy youth, workforce development, and then technology towards the end. We're also going to give the next 30 minutes or so opportunity for folks to kind of think through and discuss what they're seeing, what the survey results are actually showing. We want to give you opportunity to, if you selected a priority that did not actually make the top and you kind of want to discuss that, let's have that open dialogue among the partnership to kind of say, well, I actually thought workforce development should go up a little higher, and this is my reasoning. So we encourage that dialogue to happen. So based on this, what stands out for folks?
I think I would just share, I could have shared earlier, but this is helpful for me to articulate it, seeing it laid out, that when you say important, I feel that with housing and food, like shelter and food, I don't know how you can have anything else if you don't have that. So for me, I think that's where the word important would come in.
Thank you, Amy.
I am so kind of looking at this, I could see some of this. I mean, I can see it and I can understand it. But again, from someone who lives in a relatively, and I mean, Yamhill County, although we're growing, we're still considered a rural area or a rural county.
Yeah.
And we have some very rural pockets still. And the way that I look at the world is that although I am all for equity and justice, the way I see equity and justice being accomplished is by implementing and kind of focusing on healthy families, youth support, healthy communities, and then with those different sections or different pieces, you create equity and justice. So, for example, one of the things that we are really struggling out here in Yamhill County is peer support for youth, peer support for families. That is not something that we really have readily available out here. Nor do we have, anything in terms of like healthy communities, in terms of having like safe and inclusive spaces for our youth to go to, especially youth in that middle school age, probably one of the most vulnerable population in our county in terms of when we're looking at youth and harm, suicide rates and so all those things are okay. I need to give mommy a second. All those things are, to me, I look at it through this rural lens, or living in a rural area lens, that equity and social justice cannot be accomplished without putting healthy families, healthy youth, and supports for youth into place, and healthy communities into place. Because I mean, we can talk about equity and justice all day long, and we can implement things in the metropolitan area that will work perfectly fine there, but it's not going to work out here. And it doesn't matter how much you beat it upside the head with a hammer and make or tell rural communities that they need to do it this way. It's not going to work. So again, I guess that's just kind of my 2 cents.
Thank you, Alicia. Is that more of a value that the partner, I'm looking at some of the comments from colleagues, just thinking about, Esther says that they're in agreement with equity and justice as part of a successful implementation. So as opposed to a separate focus. So it's a value that the partnership holds to continue to do the work. You can't focus on housing and food and youth support without actually having that value as the foundation.
I
Other
agree.
thoughts?
That's what I was going to say. I was going to talk about, until we can get past the equity and justice, these other things are going to be secondary. I mean, first we have to acknowledge that there is an issue with equity in this state. After that, everything should fall into place, like the housing and the food, because there's a lot of people who are displaced or marginalized because of their color, their religion, what their preference. It can't, I feel, I mean, housing and food is important, but we have to attack equity and justice first in order for all those other things to fall into place. That's my opinion.
Thank you, Connie.
There's also a comment from Lauren in the chat that said, I also agree with Esther in that sentiment. I ranked it as first because I think it is underlying need to truly address the other issues. And Talk says, I agree, Esther, equity and justice is woven throughout the strategies. If the root cause is not being addressed, approaching each of the strategies separately becomes non-sustainable band-aids and our continued approach of being reactive.
Yeah. And I see we have a couple hands. I'll take Stan and then Timur, please.
Thank you, Nu. I have Black grandchildren and white grandchildren. They are all, they're children, and they're all equal in every way as far as in love and abilities and skills. But as they get into school, there is sometimes there is a difference between the way one of my Black grandchildren will be treated or addressed even, and so my white grandchildren. They all have good homes, loving families. We love, they're our family, it's who we are. But at the same time, when they are out and around, with our Black grandchildren in particular, of our Black daughter-in-laws, she talks about giving them the talk because as they start to drive, they've got to be really careful that they do not say or do if a policeman stops them, because there can be a bias there just because of their skin color. So as I look at this, I support equity and justice. Housing and food, I think, is critical, got to eat. But then equity and justice, if we are not created, we all created equal. But if there is institutional injustice, then I'm not sure what that, it impacts their worldview. It impacts the way they see life. It impacts their hopes for the future. And so that's, I guess, my thought, and I completely agree with everything everyone is saying, but I'm not sure that some of the healthy families, healthy youth can happen unless it's an environment of equity and justice. That's my view anyway. Thank you.
Thanks, Stan. I'm going to go with Timur and then Alicia.
Yes, hello. I came back like 5 minutes late after the break, and maybe this was addressed already, or I might be jumping ahead. But I was looking at the survey results in the email that you sent, and I noticed that like after question 12, instead of 12 responses, like the next one was 11, and then 9, and then 6. Well, is that how it's supposed to be? Because some of these questions, I don't think I've seen them.
Is that a skip pattern for the survey or anything like that from our OHA folks to answer Timur's question?
No, there's no skip pattern. I'm just trying to, do you have a page number, Timur?
So like for example, if we're looking at page 15,
Yeah.
responses, there are 12 responses, right?
Yeah.
And then like if you go down to page 17, it's showing 11, and then 11, and then page 20, it's 9. Last one is like only 6.
Yeah, so either the 12 is the number of people who are taking that survey today.
Yeah.
So either there are some people who didn't respond to those questions, or there's a chance that I pulled this result before someone was done taking it. So I can go back right now and check.
Can we ask, because I don't remember seeing a question about, I can't remember where it ended, but it seemed like something was cut short for me. Either
Oh, when you were taking it?
Yeah.
My apologies. I'll look that up and I can bring up a new export if it looks like that's what happened.
Why don't I take Alicia's comment and then I have another comment. Go ahead, Alicia.
So I guess it's more of a two-part thing. So I have a question and a comment. Question, or actually, let me rephrase it. Comment is that I guess kind of more of a, I don't want to say rebuttal because it's kind of like well, anyway, so it's sort of a rebuttal to the conversation that we've had regarding equity and justice. Is that the way that, like I said, I feel like if we just kind of say like, yeah, let's put equity and justice at the center and forefront of this entire of everything, it makes it very difficult to actually implement programs that create equity. So that's where my brain is kind of going to, is that if, for example, traditional health workers, if we say, okay, we need to expand traditional health workers in every community, and we need to expand access to traditional health workers in every community, then by saying that, we are already placing equity in the forefront. So by acknowledging that not everyone has the same or similar access to a traditional health worker, and also know and acknowledge that there is a need for traditional health workers in every community, then that in itself creates or puts the focus on the equity piece without kind of pushing away from anything else, because we can literally chew gum and walk at the same time, right? And so that's how I see it, is like, because to me it's like, my kid, I understand, like he has several disabilities, and me, or just looking at me in this community, there are so many different things that I face, that my son faces now, that we have to navigate. I'm sorry, my kids in the background, just a ruckus over here. But it's, and I see and I hear all this talk about equity and justice, and I'm like, okay, but it's not coming to me, right? I can see it in Portland. I can see it happening in Beaverton. I can see it happening in Hillsborough. I can see it happening there, but I can't see it here, because here it's a different way. Like there's just a different creating or implementing equitable services is different here than it is in Portland. And that is, I think, one of my biggest frustrations is that if we're talking about equity and justice, that, out here in the rural areas, it sounds more like, oh, well, here's a pamphlet and let's talk about equity, and let's talk about race. Let's talk about, all the different cultures. And then after that, it's just like, oh, well, okay, so we talked about it and that's it. And here's a pamphlet with all the pretty colors, and here you go. That's it. That's what, how I feel out here. And there's kind of a sentiment, even with other families that I've talked to. So I guess that's my frustration, is that when we're looking at this, it seems like it's being looked at through the lens of
Portland and metropolitan area.
Mhm.
And then, hold on a second, Portland and metropolitan area, rather than Oregon as a whole. And so yeah, I guess my question here would be is that if, you know, for everyone who had, I guess, whose brain went to, you know, equity has to be the very first thing, what, like, how is putting equity first actually going to change families, you know, access to services within their community, access to peer supports within their community, access to safe and inclusive spaces in the community. So I guess that's kind of my question and my rebuttal, I guess.
Thank you, Alicia. Talk, I see that you had your hand raised. Do you want to comment or?
I did, but then Ashley or Alicia ended up talking through it. So Alicia answered it for me. It was really more about rural, right? And how we'd be more inclusive at the state level. It wasn't about strategies specifically. So
yeah,
thanks for double checking. Thanks, Alicia.
One of the things that I wanted to circle back on with this group is that, do you want to give opportunity to folks that were not here today to take the survey? When we organized today's meeting, we really intentionally wanted to give folks that opportunity to, like, you know, let's work, right? So do you all want to give the rest of the partnership that were unable to come today to take the survey? So that's one question I had. Maybe I can take a couple comments on that.
I guess my thoughts would be yes, it would be best to have as many members of the partnership take the survey as possible, since we're looking at using this to identify and prioritize our strategies.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Stan. I see the comments from Jess, yes, on their own time, yes. Agreed. I see some head nods, some yeses as well. So why don't we do that? Why don't we, Christy will send this out to those folks that were unable to attend today so that we get more participation for this second round of survey results. Yeah, we'll definitely put a timeline for the responses. Susan, that's a good point, that we'll put a timeline in for getting responses back from those who were unable to attend today. Another question would be, you know, what are some of the, how do you all want to narrow down the priorities as a group? Whether we narrow it down so that we can send it out to additional folks, community partners that you all work with, or it could very well be one-on-one conversations with your folks. Maybe you share with them the top 3. This is what came out. How do you all feel? And get a response. How do you feel about, what are your thoughts on how do we want to narrow down the ordering of things? I don't know, Christine, we might want to pull up that one slide with the top 3 that came out of just today's, and we know that that's limited information anyway, given the fact that there was roughly 12 folks who took the survey today.
Yeah, and I did just pull another export of the English responses. I think we were a little quick. We were eager to see what you were responding, and it looked like everyone had responded. So your email has another export with 12 responses to each question. I don't think it changed the themes overall, but
Thank you. Thank you for doing that. Do folks have an idea of, how you want to actually try to get feedback from other community groups or other parts of your constituency? And maybe Christy, go ahead and pull up that slide.
oh, sorry. I thought you were seeing it. You're not looking at it?
No, I still see the ranking slide.
Okay, let me start over. You see it now?
Yes. So this particular slide really shows what was most important implementations areas and the strategies. So this is what bubbled up as the top 3. This is based on today's results, Christy. Yeah. And then underneath each of those 3 sections, you'll see the strategies. So we thought we would kind of break it down just looking at the first 3, just to see if folks had any strong feelings or thoughts about, can we work with this right now and share it out with our constituency, our communities, and get feedback? How would you do that? Or do you want to narrow it, broaden it or narrow it even more? Any thoughts?
Hey, no, this is Connie.
Please. Thank you, Connie.
I know this is way out there, but I just thought of this. Could this be part of a steering committee for housing and food, steering committee for equity and justice, a steering committee for healthy communities within our HTO?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways to tackle it. I think that's one proposal that we can definitely look at. And when I say we, it's really you all, Christy and I and the rest of the OHA team is really here to help support what you all want to do. And so I think that that can be something that we put forward to the steering committee, right? Do we want to look at these things as subcommittees, subgroups, and have folks all be a part of it, right? And tackle these things together collectively, as opposed to, 5 people, right? And so you can kind of choose which area of interest you want to, decide to help tackle.
Okay, I was just thinking, like, for equity and justice, that could be a committee where we bring back what's going on with these bills and what the governor has signed, what's on her desk, what's not going to be signed, things like that, because it all relates to health.
Yes. And I believe Christy has some more information on that in the coming weeks through another office hours, I believe.
Okay. Is
that right, Christy? Or she sent some things in.
Yeah, I got that.
The base camp. Yeah.
I got
Great.
that. But what I'm saying is we can't answer these questions in the next 15 minutes. So
right.
It's one of those things I would like to see everybody kind of look at it and think about it and put it in the parking lot. And then if we meet again, that could be our low hanging fruit.
Okay.
I don't know how anybody else feels about it, but I'm willing to do that.
Thank you, Connie, for stepping out. We'll definitely put that down and think about how we can incorporate that and maybe bring you into that conversation in the weeks to come. Timur, I saw that you had your hand up. Jess is in agreement with what you just said, Connie, so I just want to acknowledge that. Timur?
I do have a question. So right now we're taking the survey, and in the beginning of the meeting, we voted to also prioritize the immigrant and refugee communities. So would that be, is that going to be getting added to these documents, or what's going to happen with that?
I believe this in the charter, it was added to look at immigrant and refugee communities as part of the whole. And so my understanding would be that as the partnership worked on these strategies, that those communities would be part of the population groups that we're really focusing on. So we wouldn't necessarily pull them out altogether, but knowing that they are part of the population groups within the charter, within the mission of this group to reach that group as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just hope that it's not going to get lost anywhere. So we can
Don't worry, I'm not going to let it get lost.
All right. Yeah, thank you.
I like that accountability. Thank you. And thank you. And please continue to bring that up with one another, right? That we don't lose track and lose sight of who we say we're going to serve and reach. So thank you. So I'm going to wrap up this portion of our time looking at the strategies. I know that there was a lot of good comment and conversation around the equity and justice piece. And then what I'd like to do is offer up an opportunity for partnership members to actually give some quick updates in our last bit. And then we will kind of wrap up kind of the next steps for this group and where we want to go. So for partnership updates, I'm going to start. This basically is an opportunity for all of you to kind of share some of the ways that you're sharing information about the partnership to your communities, and then also, you know, asking if you want any type of feedback. And so this is really opportunity to hear what's going on in and around our state and among our colleagues here. So I'm going to start with, I believe, Stan, did you have a partner update?
Yes, thank you, Nu. Been working with the Faith Liaison in Oregon. There's about 2,200 faith leaders throughout the state of Oregon, and about 1,900, maybe a little more, that are part of what's called the Faith Liaison. Maria Waters is up with OHA. She's the one that is the coordinator. And I've been working also with Christy. And we're going to be having a webinar answering question time with the faith leaders to try to identify similar focus. Sometimes there has been a disconnect between faith leaders and the state, and often are working towards the same goals or the same purposes. And there are things that we as the partners can do to assist the faith leaders in making a healthier Oregon. There's things the faith leaders can do to participate, to support us, the OHA. And so to begin with, we're going to have just an overview of what we are doing and listen to those that are part of the meeting as far as what they are trying to do to search for common ground on how we can work together as a common goal going forward. We've talked about perhaps the next step might even be to send the survey to the Faith Liaison, since they are throughout the entire state and work with many different populations, to get their view on what the strategies and the focus on strategies might be.
Great, thank you, Stan. Any questions for Stan? If not, let's go ahead and move to Jenny. If you want to share about the Racial Justice Council, Jenny.
Jenny's not
Oh,
here.
she's not here.
No.
My apologies.
But I mean, I can share a little bit of an update. This is a couple months ago now, but the Racial Justice Council is it's an effort led by or convened out of the governor's office. They were formed initially this fall, last fall, really in preparation for the 21 legislative session. And during the session, that council was made permanent as an ongoing body to advise the governor and agencies around policy that will advance anti-racism in our state. And Jenny serves on the Racial Justice Council. And so we've had some real preliminary conversations about Healthier Together Oregon, about the role of the partnership, about the role of the Racial Justice Council, because there's so much overlap in what they're talking about, what you are all talking about, what's in the plan, and just curious about ways that we might be able to support one another's efforts, and if this plan can be meaningful for that group and vice versa. So more to come.
Thank you, Christy.
Yeah.
Lauren, do you want to share of some learning opportunities?
Oh, Lauren, we might be putting you on the spot here.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I had stepped away, but I heard my name. I had to step away for a second. What was the question posed to me?
We're just providing time for updates. So I just this is preliminary because we moved it, but just initial conversations that we've been having with the grant makers of Oregon and Southwest Washington.
Oh, yeah, I feel like I'm a little out of the loop on that, but we have a meeting coming up, I know. Sorry.
Yeah, no. I'm sorry. I was assuming when I put this agenda together, we'd have a little bit more information to share, but we pushed it. Anyways, conversations with grant makers of Oregon and Southwest Washington about holding like a learning opportunity for philanthropic partners about HTO, and again, like ways that this plan can be leveraged and supportive of the work that happens out there through the private giving sector. So.
Great, thank you, Christy. And then does anybody else have any updates they would like to give on how they're sharing information about the HTO among their communities, or questions? Ian, please.
I'm sharing our documents with the blessing of the partnership with our partners at Lane County Public Health. They want to be able to replicate a partnership at Lane County with the creation and updating of their new chip. So it's exciting to see kind of exactly what we're hoping for in my little neck of the woods for how individual county public health agencies are trying to replicate the work and implement HTO. So after the charter's passed, I'm excited to share the final charter with them, because hopefully that'll guide the development of their charter and kind of founding document, how they create their version of their partnership.
Great, thank you, Ian. Anyone else? If not, I want to go ahead and think about the next steps for our October meeting. So a couple bits of homework. We have the one piece on nominations for steering committee. If you recall from the charter, we're looking at a steering committee of 5 folks. We encourage you all to rush and volunteer yourselves. There's a lot of exciting movement at this point. And so we encourage you to not only step forward if you have an interest, but if you also want to nominate someone, please reach out to Christy and myself, and we will touch base with that person and let them know that they've been nominated and see if they accept that nomination. So what we hope to do is in our October meeting, put forward 5 folks as a committee. Within those 5 folks, we will let the 5 of them determine who will step forward as co-chairs for the committee at this point, and decide how to move forward and really kind of set the pace for a work plan for this group. We really are at the point where we need these 5 folks to, we encourage you to step forward. Christy and the OHA crew will definitely be there supporting the work, all the behind the scenes and in front of the part scenes that we're due as a group. But it's really pivotal at this time so that we're not the ones setting the agenda. You will have a facilitator, whether it be myself or a facilitator position is part of this group as well, that will be helping, guide the process. And so please, we encourage you to step forward at this time and nominate each other or nominate yourself. So go ahead and send those to us within the month of October, or excuse me, September, and we'll do that. As far as the next steps with the survey, we'll ask those members that cannot be here today to go ahead and step forward and take the survey within a limited time frame and get those results and bring all of that back as well. Any other final wrap-up pieces, Christy, that we need to cover?
I don't think so. Just to put a plug in around member compensation, you are all eligible for, and next Wednesday is our next HTO in Action event. We're going to focus in on the housing and food strategies. Liz had to jump off, but she's lining up some great guests for that event. Oregon Housing and Community Services, I think next door is going to be presenting their Regional Health Equity Coalition based in the Gorge. So it should be a good one. Tune in.
I would also say that because we don't have a steering committee voted upon yet, I would encourage you folks, any one of you, to go ahead and put forward ideas for October's meeting. Christy and I and the OHA team really try to put something together. So that's why you see that we really need that guidance from you all, because it's your meeting, it's your agenda. And so we encourage you to put forward anything that you would like to see happen, not only just October, but then also November as well, because we're kind of heading into those fall months. And so we really need that steering committee put together so that we can do some long range planning. Connie, have a wonderful vacation in October. You will be missed. Otherwise, I'm going to give you back 5 minutes of your afternoon with us. And so we appreciate the conversation and time. Would anybody else like to add anything or any questions that you have for Christy and the OHA team? If not, we say thank you, and we will be in touch, and send us those nominations. Thank you, everyone. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
Hi, everybody.
See everyone in November. I'll take my my little laptop and I'll be able to.
Oh my goodness. You're supposed to vacation. You
I'll
relax.
I'll look, but I won't comment.
I hope you're going someplace fun.
Muy buena interpretación, gracias.
Puerto Vallarta.
Woo!
Okay, so jealous.
I love Puerto Vallarta.
Bye.
Gracias, Callie.
Bye, Callie.
Bye.
Connie, have you been to Puerto Vallarta before?
I went on a cruise and I think I was there for 6 hours. So it didn't count for me.
Yeah. We were there right before COVID hit and went on this really fun catamaran tour.
Okay.
That I would love to recommend for you if you're interested.
I will write it down.
It's like, it might take me a second, but it's like a day-long tour and whales and delicious food and drinks, and they take you to this island where you can snorkel and swim if you want. And the staff were just the best. They were so much fun.
Did you stay at a resort or a hotel or what?
Yeah, we stayed at a resort.
Okay.
Just north of Puerto Vallarta, but I love it there. It's so wonderful.
Okay, well, if I fall in love, well, who knows? Maybe in 2023 we could have a retreat. Huh?
I'm in.
See, I put it out there so we
That's
have time to
right.
plan for a retreat.
That's right. I love that. Thank
That's
you.
Thank you all. See you soon.
Okay.
I may email in between.
Please,
Okay.
please be safe.